Yo, what's going on guys, Khraze here, welcome back to another Marvel's Avengers video, and today we finally have a brand new update, update 1.3.4, as well as another one that is underway, probably following in the next couple of weeks, which is 1.3.5. So we have the announcement right here. There's a bunch of stuff happening for the matchmaking improvements, improved off-screen attack indicators, there's some issues with missing or access skill points, and a ton more in this update, and then we will talk about some of the upcoming changes to the game that will likely drop with the 1.3.5, which will be about some quality of life stuff. Now the new update will include some interesting changes. Of course, you will also get that Sarah Garza inspired nameplate from the thank you bundle. I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. If you didn't pay attention to that, you're basically going to get some really awesome free goodies if you log up until November the 5th, which is basically going to be just a couple more weeks from this point on. So let's go over the full patch notes. It's not that big, it's definitely not the biggest update so far, but it does bring some really interesting changes. Of course, you have your typical fixes like multiple crash issues being resolved, a ton of other issues with the gameplay, especially during certain missions like Condition Green, where you would sometimes get out of the world, and also with Abomination becoming unresponsive in Gathering of Evil mission, but actually the ones that are more consistent are for the multiplayer and the matchmaking. So for the matchmaking, they have made some various improvements both to matchmaking and the invite system, and they have also removed power level difference indicator during matchmaking to remove confusion regarding mission power and prepare for improvements to power display, which is probably something that might happen in a future patch as well. Now there's a bunch of them in there too, also for the matchmaking, like for example a rare issue where using quick match as an hero could break up an existing strike team, or another one that prevented joining via invites from players who weren't added as a friend. It also fixed the mission selection issue that sometimes occurred when players would join or leave the strike team while in the war table UI. So these are some of the bugs that affected the game. Now there's also a bunch of other fixes for the Tachyon rifts and some improvements too, like for example one that makes the Tachyon orbs easier to see when indoors. So when you see them popping up, you should be able to see them much easier in the interiors, and you're going to be able to collect them and increase your timer a little bit more. Also in the same Tachyon rifts, the Tachyon rift breakout where players would not be reloaded in the proper location when reloading the checkpoint, that issue has also been fixed in the newest update. And on top of that, we have a bunch of other changes to the user interface. So for example, the quick match button is now visible within the war table whenever multiplayer is allowed, regardless of matchmaking preferences. And also they've addressed an issue with the missing or access skill points. So let me know down below if you still have the problem even after this new update. I think that this should be the final nail in the coffin for that bug that affected so many people. And let me know if you still have missing skill points or too many skill points for different characters. But there's other changes in there too, like for the combat there's a bunch of improvements that I'm sure you will definitely enjoy, especially for the projectiles from enemies off screen. So this was like one of the major issues where you would not be able to see them in time because they were oftentimes not indicated at all or very poorly. So they have improved off-screen projectile attack indicators in the new update. They've also fixed an issue where Black Widow would sometimes not gain intrinsic power while performing takedowns. They fixed some instances of enemies not spawning at all. They've improved transitions between hover and flight when Iron Man is attacked, and finally in the combat category they fixed a rare instance of Captain America going out of the world when using a shield dive ability. Finally, we have a bunch of other fixes for gear challenges and rewards. So they fixed an issue with some Hulk outfit textures, and finally an issue that prevented Thor's challenge card nameplate from properly unlocking. And that is basically it with this update. Now in the meantime, if you haven't played the game, or maybe if you just want to log in once and see how it is, you might want to do it right now because there is a really nice promo going on where you will get this really nice pack right here with a bunch of very awesome resources. So you have up until the 5th of November to collect this appreciation package that includes 1500 credits, about 7000 units, quite a lot of upgrade modules, a ton of DNA keys, and if you have collected these already, then you will also get the Sarah Garza inspired nameplate because yeah, you're the best according to the notes right here. So you have up until 10 AM PDT on November 5th, and I would also argue that you should probably keep on these and not spend especially those credits because they can come in really handy, for example in the future Hawkeye Dlc, especially for the Kate part of it, it, or maybe if you're waiting for Clint and see what he has in store in terms of outfits and whatnot, you might want to do that, or maybe even unlock their challenge cards, which obviously will cost about 1000 credits per character, so this is going to help you quite a bit with that. And on the same note, if you do manage to open up those DNA keys, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to also keep any of the possible patterns that you might get from the DNA chest if you happen to be lucky to stumble upon these. Now, outside of these, they're also working on that update 1.3.5, and it's very likely that this is going to be the one that will introduce some of the quality of life features that were talked about in the past. So this includes the ping system that will let us pretty much mark anything from objectives to resources, health crates, and even enemies, and it should also allow us to command AI companions to hack and even smash doors or prioritize different types of enemies, which could come in really handy. Of course, the campaign replay is also going to be a part of a future update. Hopefully it's going to drop by the end of the year. According to a recent interview, we know from the game's director that they are actively testing the replayability of the campaign right now in an internal patch, and hopefully it is going to drop sometime soon, or at the very least we will get some news about it sometimes in the near future as well. But there's other bunch of changes in there, like high contrast mode, hero icon visibility options, and there's also more reward clarity for the stuff that you will get from the missions, and finally better enemy attack indicators, part of which was already added in this update 1.34. Now, for the future, we only have one thing to worry about, and that is of course the the future Hawkeye DLC. And now we know that, well, Cyberpunk 2077 also got a delay of about 3 weeks, so this could be a perfect opportunity for Crystal Dynamics to maybe roll that update before the middle of November, so that they can take advantage of the downtime, since, well, obviously the competition is not going to be that big. There's still a big month in November, but it would be awesome to see this update dropping before the 15th of November and maybe get at least the first part of the Hawkeye update with Kate Bishop. Which also raises the question, now that everything got delayed, would they be in the position to actually bundle both of the characters in the same update instead of releasing the update into separate parts? Because it would be really awesome to see both Kate and Clint being available right from the get-go, and then letting the players decide which of the characters they might want to choose and play with. So yeah, let me know down below, how would you like to see this new update being rolled out? Do you want to see it as it was originally intended, with 2 separate parts of the Hawkeye, or do you want to see one single bundle with both of the characters at the very same time? In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. As always, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.